we're going to be doing something special and different today compared to the other videos. I have not done one of these yet, I do not believe. There might have been something before, but today we will be doing a cooking episode. And the people that you're hearing in the background are my roommates, and I have not told them that I am recording, so if you hear any other background conversation, just ignore it. But for now, today we are going to be cooking some fried rice, as you could probably see from the title of the video. And I'm just saying, by no means am I a professional cook or chef. I do work at a restaurant. I'm not going to name the restaurant's name, but I do work at a restaurant as a cook. But that is not my primary thing that I usually do, but I am good at cooking. Or at least my food tastes good. So if you want to count that as good cooking, go right ahead. But besides that, we're going to be making fried rice. So there might be some cuts in between things and stuff being done, because I don't want to just continuously bore you with cutting an onion or cutting some green onions, steak, or some sort of thing like that. But we're going to be making fried rice with beef. And today our ingredients are green onions. We're going to be chopping them up. I have not used green onions in a recipe before. That's going to be a first. I'm going to be adding those towards the end of the cooking time for our rice, because they should not take much time to really heat up, and they should still give a little bit of flavor from their earthy amounts into the fried rice. I don't know if you can see all those pans right there. Those are the pans we are going to be using to cook. One of them is a bit older than the rest, but granted, stuff like that's going to happen. Going to have some older pans. I wish I was able to purchase a wok for cooking the fried rice, but they're a bit expensive for my taste right now. And yes, I could probably have found one online, but I do not have time to find one online and then continue to cook food for my sustenance. I'm going to be cooking 4 servings of fried rice with some stir-fry beef. Beef bottom round steak for stir-fry. So we're going to be using that meat in our fried rice as our meat stuff. I went ahead and pre-cooked some rice. Yes, it is in a pot. I do not have money for a rice cooker. And besides that, we are also having some garlic, an onion. This is going to be in for cooking the beef, because we're going to cook the beef separately from the fried rice. We're not going to cook the beef in the fried rice. I'm going to cook it not completely done, and then add it back into the fried rice for it to finish cooking. It is thin meat, so it should cook relatively quickly. We're going to mainly make an aroma for it to cook in for the short amount of time. We're going to be using half of the beef for our first 4 servings. You don't want too much meat, then it's more meat than rice, and then it's not fried rice, it's fried beef with a side of rice, you know. So the main purpose is rice in our food here. We're also going to be using Country Crock butter, not sponsored, but that's the only butter I usually get, and I don't get sticks. So there's going to be no measurements on this besides for the rice, which I put 2 cups of rice to 2 cups of water. A little less than 2 cups of water, so it wouldn't be so wet. It's not exactly dry nor wet, it's like a mix, so it's like right in the middle. It's a little moist, but not like heavily drenched in water or anything. And besides that, we are also using this for a seasoning, and yes, I know that this might be cheating or skipping a few steps in the cooking process, but what I'm cooking right now is my version of fried rice. If you don't like it, well, you don't have to eat any of my food that I make, because you ain't going to be here to eat it. But if you want to recreate this, just eyeball it. That's what I'd have to say. Just eyeball it. Look around. And even if you have stuff like this, which is what I'm going to be using, which is fried rice seasoning mix. And you may have just heard little Goober over here messing around. He may appear in the video from here and then, but pretty much we're going to be using this to season the fried rice. I don't know exactly everything that's in it, but it tastes good, so what the heck. We're also going to be using baby carrots. We're going to cut them up and soften them by cooking them in the pan. We're going to do that and then add it into our rice towards the end of cooking, so we have a little bit of softer carrots for the rice. Made the mistake another time. I think little Goober wants to say hi. This right here is Goober. Say hello to the camera, Goober. He likes to look at the camera. Now you go run along there, bud. Can't come up here now. Okay, go on. Go on, go play. Can't come up here. There's some knives up here, bud. We're also going to be using salt and pepper. And yes, I know, white people only know how to season with salt and pepper. Thing is, we're also putting garlic and some other stuff with the beef, so it's not like it's going to be properly tasty. It's going to be tasty, of course, if we're cooking it with onions and garlic, along with putting some garlic into the fried rice itself. So, without further ado, I think I will also pause, well, not pause, I'm going to cut here and put to a better area to where you can actually see what I'm doing on my counter, which is down here. Right now, you're in my cupboard. But anyway, I'll go ahead and reposition this into a good position, and then we'll restart the video. Hey there, guys. I believe you guys can see the two work surfaces right here. The red, I'm stupid. The yellow and the blue. Blue we're going to be cooking, well, not cooking, cutting and dressing our meat, and this will be for the vegetables. I got both my knife for cutting the beef, which, very beautiful, I'd have to say, and the knife for cutting the vegetables. A paring knife and a utility knife. I do have a chef knife of the same color and variety. Very beautiful. I really like these knives, got them today. So they're perfectly fine and good to use. We will also be using some vegetable oil too, to cook the rice. So we will begin the cutting and dressing process here. Actually, before we start, nearly forgot, the best thing to do as a cook is to go ahead and wash your fingies. So we're going to go wash your fingies really quick before we touch any raw meat. Okay, everybody, and hands are getting cleaner by the seconds. Okay, so let us commence the cutting into the beef. Well, not into the beef, but into the package. We are going to be putting some of this stuff away to be used in some other sort of food. But obviously, the size that they are now will not be that good in fried rice. Obviously. So I'm thinking we're going to go ahead and cut it down the middle. I'm going to put this on that, but I'm going to put the meat on this. Okay. Like that. Maybe I'll take a couple more slices. That, yeah, that should be plenty enough. So we used up about half of our meat for 4 servings is what I'm going to make it. Maybe I'll cut them into thirds. I want like bite-sized pieces that you can take with the rice. I don't want an overbearing amount. And trust me, I'm no expert when it comes to cutting, so if I'm not cutting correctly, I am sorry. Just practice safe food etiquette. If I get hurt, I get hurt. That's just me. Looks like we might be cutting these into 4s. Okay. So we went ahead and cut all our beef. And it looks like we got some pieces about this size right here, which is a pretty good size for just a quick bite. They are going to shrink a little bit, but you'll get a bunch of little meat with your rice. So I'd say it's pretty good. We're going to cut this piece a little bit smaller just cause. And we're going to just keep everything as is and just go ahead and season the stuff. Now obviously, if I wasn't using fresh garlic to go ahead and cook with the stuff, I'd usually just season it with garlic herb seasoning, some all-purpose seasoning, and some salt, maybe, if it's not salty enough. But usually seasoned salt will get you to your saltiness levels, but if you like salty stuff like me, then you'll probably want to do that. But and now I'm just going to go ahead and try and take apart as many of these as I can so I can get even coverage over them all. Because I don't want one piece to taste like just normal beef the hint of stuff. So we're just going to go ahead. Actually, let's just do the quick. Let's just squish it apart. We're going to need to wash our hands anyways before we start with the vegetables. Because you don't want cross-contamination with meat and vegetables. But besides that, we're going to go ahead and get all this stuff ready. Then we'll go ahead and throw this stuff on the pan after we're done with this. And what I usually do is put it on medium and cook it then. Because, one, I have not cooked with this type of meat before, so there is a bit of uncertainty with the cooking process of this. I don't know exactly how long to cook it. This is more of an experiment and experience. Usually I cook with seafood, and usually it's shrimp, pre-cooked shrimp that I use, so there's not really much cooking involved with it. At my work, we usually, if we use any sort of beef, it's a steak. But it's either a steak or a burger. And for the most part, at my work, we cannot serve burgers under well done. For the main reason that cooking ground beef, you have to cook it all the way. I don't care what anyone says. If you're using ground beef, you have to cook it well done. There's no possibility you should be cooking it in a lower temperature for certain reasons, as in the bacteria. The difference with bacteria with this type of stuff is that it's just on the surface of it. Now, I'm not trying to scare you guys into thinking, oh, you should only eat this way. If you can eat that way, it's fine. But I'm just saying, in a business standard, you cannot serve ground beef under well done. That's just, you shouldn't do that. Because it could very much end up in them in the hospital. So, yeah. So unless you got a specific kind of stuff that makes it to where you can eat stuff, some people can even eat raw meat, depending on how your body handles it. But for the most part, it's mainly the bacteria on the outside that gets you sick. And with ground beef, that bacteria that was on the outside is now on the inside. And if you don't cook it all the way through, you could very much well end up with a bad batch of meat. Because when you cook things like steak, the inside doesn't have the same bacteria as the outside. So then, with that, I'm going to go ahead and salt this meat a little bit. Sorry, I've made a little mess. I'm going to clean that up later, but a little bit of pepper on there. We should only need to pepper one side and salt one side, because once you eat it, it's pretty much just it's like taking off the skin of a steak. You know how like you get that good char on there? It's like that, but pretty much this is what I'm going to do for that. So actually, before we put the meat in there, we're going to need to chop up some of the vegetables. So before that, I'm going to go ahead and turn on the stove over there. I'm going to go ahead and heat up the pan and wash my hands, and we're going to chop up this onion right here, along with a bit of garlic. We're going to slice some of it. We're not going to mince it or dice it. Well, I think I might dice. Yeah, dice, maybe. Maybe even mince. It depends on how small I want them to be cut, but... Okay, so should I use this one? Okay. We are going to use the same spatula for that as we did our meat. So we're going to do that. But let me go ahead and give myself another little hand wash down. Since we're working with raw beef. Can't be too safe, nor too sorry. We also got some soy sauce, so don't worry about that if you were... I'm sorry for the silent pauses in between. I'm just trying to get this all good. I might edit some of these things out if they stay in. I'm sorry. I can't do it. Okay, we use this for beef, so we'll keep that over there. No cross-contamination. I think it was on here, but there's a bit of pepper too. Sorry. Shouldn't be that bad for cross-contamination because, I don't know. No, I don't know. Okay, so I think we're going to just use half of this. Okay, so, yeah, let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to go ahead and dice it up in small bits. Whew, you can already smell that, babe. Babe. That thing. Whew. Oh, fuck. Holy man, that's a strong smell. Whew, I was getting the smallest onion at the store, and oh boy, am I regretting that. Looks like the smallest one's got the most potent smell. I am quite used to peeling onions, as I do that at work quite often, since we cut and peel our own vegetables, like potatoes and things like that. Things of that nature. Oh, damn, slippery motherfucker. Oh boy, I'm starting to get a bit teary-eyed from cutting this. Go ahead and throw away our scrap. Okay, so now, obviously, I'm not very good at remembering what I learned in foods class when it comes to cutting, so don't mock me if my cutting is not good. I'm going to go ahead and cut this down the middle. And then we're going to go ahead and attempt to dice. I think would be best if we go like this and don't cut all the way onto the other side, just cut like this. Go ahead and do small cubes, not too big, not too small. Try and get as close to the other side as you can, and this is a bit of a cutting tip, just how I'm doing it now. You don't want to go all the way through because then it'd make it harder to cut. Okay, now it should just come out as little tiny bits, like this. And you should only need, like, I wouldn't say the exact amount of your beef, but probably a little bit less than how much beef you got. And you may cut them as small as you wish. It's just I'm cutting them like this. Usually I don't use onion in my cooking. Goodness. Go and play somewhere, Goober. Okay, but I'd say maybe this would be quite good enough for cooking. You're going to want to cook these in the pan with the garlic for a little bit before you put the... You can chop them up a little more finely if you want to. You can incorporate the onions into the fried rice if you'd like, but I usually don't like to eat like actual bits of onion. The taste of onion isn't bad. They're also losing a bit because they're flopping everywhere. But yeah, they should be good enough for onions. You can use less if you wish, or more if you wish. It's up to you. We'll probably save the rest of this onion if we can for something else. Damn, this thing's hard to open. That's probably why. Wasn't tearing it from the right side. These are pre-peeled garlic. Fresh peeled garlic. We're going to use, I think maybe 4 of these little cloves. Not cloves. Are they cloves? I don't know. I can't remember if cloves are the big things or if those are bundles or whatnot. Damn, it's hard to do with that stupid bear claw technique. They teach you a nice technique in cutting for not cutting your fingers, but I am not good at doing that. We're just going to chop these up into really nice small bits. You can even cut them into thick bits if you'd like. We just dropped another thing, that's great. It's hard to get a hold of these fucking things. Obviously I ain't the best, but... like I've said, people say my food is delicious to eat. I think it's pretty good too, so it's not like I'm not enjoying my own food.
You don't have to worry, I probably won't cut myself on this, but you never know. Now, obviously, you've heard other cooking videos, if you've watched them, that once the stuff gets fragrant, you should add in your other stuff. So we're going to do that. Okay, we're going to go add a little bit of vegetable oil into the pan to start with. About a capful of what your thing comes in should be fine. Next, we are going to add the stuff to the pan. Now, I probably will not be able to take you with me, but you probably will hear it. So I'm going to go put this in the pan now. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's definitely sizzling. I probably will not be using the rest of this onion, so I don't quite very much care a lot for onion, but while those are cooking, I will also cook up the carrots a bit, pre-cooking them. So with that, we can clean this off if we want, but they'll just have a little bit of a taste to them, which should not be a problem. We'll probably cut up maybe 5 baby carrots here, just to get them all in there. Yeah, 5 of them seem about good for cutting them up. Now we can cut them up into little cubes if we can. Try and get them as small as possible. I'd say maybe after you cut them down that way, maybe just cut them like this, and they should be good to get ready to cook. So yeah, just cut them 4 ways after you've cut them the first way, that way. So you have little chunks of carrots like these. Now, if you were extremely skilled, you could probably just stack all these on top of one another, and bingo bango, you got what you need. But I am not as skilled. I'm just kind of lucky when it comes to stuff. But almost every single food that I have made, I'm going to go check on the stuff. That's a bit high. We're going to wait until the onion is translucent and fragrant, along with the garlic, which is getting very close here. Obviously, your choice of vegetable and as much as you want to put in there is up to you. I myself am trying to eat a little healthier in a way, I guess you could say. Yeah, you could even do a rough chop if you want. You can even leave them whole like this if you really care. You can do big chunks. You can even put whole carrots in there if you want to go that way. But again, it's entirely up to you. Cut as many as you'd like. We might actually use... yeah, I probably should just use... Now, you don't want too much vegetable if you want a pretty decent fried rice, because if you get too much vegetable, it is just more vegetable than rice, and, you know, unless you're vegetarian in some way that rice is not vegetarian, vegan. Well, yeah, vegetarian too, but I think I might actually just put a little bit in there. Like, this should be pretty fine for that. But we're going to go ahead and add our meat into our stuff now. Because it's looking pretty translucent over here. I'm stupid. I'm just going to add the meat. And make sure you have a plate or bowl ready when you are cooking this meat, because it should get done relatively quickly, and you might even need to cook it into batches. If you get a little bit of onion and or garlic with you, that's completely fine and completely normal. It would not raise any alarm for caution or anything. Unless, of course, you're trying to feed this food to a friend who's allergic to any of these ingredients, in which you probably shouldn't have done that in the first place. Also, try and keep them as apart from each other as you can. Try not to let them attach to one another, because if they do, it'd be kind of hard to get rid of them, or not get rid of them, but separate them in the long run. But try and make sure everything's mixed up and incorporated, then you can let that thing sit for just a little bit, depending on your temperature you have it on. I have it on a okay sense. Yeah, we also got our rice right here, in case you guys didn't see before, but got our rice right there. We can probably chop up a little more garlic that we're going to put into the fried rice itself. Actually, I think we'll just do 1 clove that we'll put in the fried rice itself. And then we'll probably spend the rest of our time chopping up carrots, if that. I could probably start cooking the carrots, too. I may even do a pie episode one of these days and bake a pie with you guys. But this should be good enough for that, and we'll go ahead and throw these carrots into a pan to start softening them up. And of course, if you'd like to continue to season your food in case you don't think it would have enough seasoning, you may also. By no means am I a determining factor that you have messed up on something. This is literally just my own personal recipe that I am creating as I am talking. Because, again, I have not cooked with any of this stuff before. And again, if any of your stuff does mix a little bit at the cooking process, it shouldn't be as big of a problem. Okay? It really shouldn't be. Okay, yeah, you guys have been getting a pretty good layout of the kitchen, right? Yeah, about right there. I'll show you how the stuff is going, okay? Oh, sorry about that, but this is how our food's looking right now. Looking pretty good. Got the carrots going up there. Probably too big of a pan for what I'm using them for, but we will go ahead and think of that at a different time. We got our big saucepan that was over there that we're going to be cooking our fried rice in, which we'd be putting a bit of oil, a little less than when we put into the meat over there, but besides that, we're going to be putting a little bit of butter into the fried rice as we cook it to give it a little bit better stuff. I don't know if other people like to do this or anything like that, but I have come accustomed to eating it like that. Besides that, we might as well just get going with the stuff. I'll go ahead and continue doing this stuff. We've been recording for about 49 minutes. Okay. Keep going at the beef. And again, try and make sure, you might even have to cook it all the way through if you need to, but sometimes when they get stuck together, it doesn't want to cook on both sides, so one side would be a bit red while the other side isn't. So you might just want to cook it all the way through. I feel like I should add a little bit of oil and or butter to these carrots to help them cook a little bit better. So I will add a little bit of oil to them. Just a touch, not too much. That should be good. Just a little bit, not a lot. You don't need a lot for the carrots. At least I don't know, I've never really cooked them with oil. That oil up on them. Some around, make sure they don't stick so they start cooking. We want these to be nice and soft and stuff, so, or at least cook them for a good enough time that they won't be as hard. Obviously, if you want soft carrots, you should probably steam them or boil them for the most soft carrots, but besides that, our food is getting close to being done. May need to drain off some of the beef stuff that's in it, and obviously the way you drain yours off is your own, but I currently don't have a place to really drain mine, so I will use a teacup to drain the meat, at least for right now. You can continue to cook if you drained out the stuff too. It's completely up to you. If you want to be in the video, you can come and fill up your water. The meat is almost done, and we can leave all the stuff on there if we so wish, but that's up to you. You want to leave a little bit of liquidiness in the beef, a little bit of beef fat. It's up to you. I usually drain it out. Okay, so we will go ahead and probably put this meat on a plate to the side. Rice! I don't know what that was, but I hope it's really not cutting off my stuff, but... Okay guys, we're going to be putting a little oil in the big pan to start with our fried rice. Now if I had another camera person here, they could help me really show you what I'm doing, but for the most part you're going to have to just trust me. I'm going to be putting a little less than a capful of this into the pan. And I'm going to put at least a spoon, maybe half a spoonful, like a plastic spoon or a metal spoon, like just a bit to give it a little more flavor down the road. But I'm gonna go do that right now, and we're gonna go ahead and get with that stuff. You really shouldn't need a lot of oil when it comes to fried rice. It shouldn't be drenched in oil or anything. That's why I'm using part oil, part butter. Go ahead and use it, the other butter we got. So we'll use it there. This one, need it. Oh, you guys can see my, oh, you guys can't. Dang, that stinks. I have this really nice apron on. It feels pretty good. Favorite of mine. Okay. So like I said, just a little spoonful should be fine. And here getting soon done should be our carrots. I tested them a little bit ago and they're still a bit hard. They're getting softer though, so it shouldn't be a problem. You can use a spoon or a fork if you can't find any spoons at the top of your hand, so I'd say about this much butter should be fine. You can add more butter if you want, less butter if you want, completely up to you. Make sure it gets everywhere before you put anything else in there. Our meat's looking fabulous, and to be honest, it smells pretty good too. This is our beef. You can smell that stuff. It smells real good. I might even try a piece. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I like that. That's pretty good. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's nice and savory. Yeah. Maybe a little more not pepper. Maybe a little more salt. But like I said, put your own things in there. You want a little more saltier. You want a little less saltier. Do your thing. We're gonna be adding soy sauce to it, so well, to the whole thing, not to just that, but that, and I like to put a little bit of sriracha on my stuff. So now, while this stuff is getting good, we can pretty much follow the instructions on our packet if you got it. However you like to season your stuff, you can do that, but with my seasoning packet, it has a step-by-step thing on how to cook fried rice, which is what I base my stuff off of. Pretty much it's pretty simple. There's 4 steps. Over high heat, add oil to skillet and saute rice for 1 to 2 minutes. Then push rice aside, add eggs, scramble, then stir into rice. Stir seasoning and soy sauce into the rice, which is step 1 is that. Step 2 is stir the seasoning and soy sauce into the rice. So you'd cook the rice a little bit, put the seasoning and soy sauce into the rice. Then you'd push it aside, put the eggs in there, and then put any optional ingredient and saute for 1 to 2 more minutes. So we are going to go do that. We're going to be putting our rice in there now. Hopefully this should fit in there. Hopefully. I wasn't able to get a big pan, but and we're going to be putting this in there. And it usually says 3 cups of cooked rice. We have 2. So we're going to have a little extra seasoning. You can opt to add in more or less if you want. I'm going to be adding at least, like it says on here, I'm going to be adding 2/3 of the seasoning into it. But I'm going to eyeball it. So, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and put everything together now. You guys may be over there for a moment. Oh yeah, it's looking good. Let me go ahead and quickly take a test of this carrots. Okay, let's test it. Oh yeah, yes. That's good. That's soft carrots. That's good. Like it ain't no crunch. Well, it does have a tiny bit of crunch, but it's not like raw carrot crunch. You know, it's like, and it's also not like mushy. It's like perfect. Taking that off. Obviously, I don't have a lot of them, but I got some carrots. We're gonna be adding that into it. Just turn off the burner and put it on an inactive burner. Be fine. We're gonna be adding the rice into our stuff now. And the longer you let this butter cook, the better flavor it would be too. So if you wanna get it to be brown butter, go right ahead. So I'm gonna go ahead and start adding in my rice. Or at least as much as we can. Okay, we should be able to add all of it in. It'll just be one hell of a fit for everything else. There we go. It's a bit cold because this is I wouldn't say it's day-old rice, but it's, actually, you know what? This calls for a scene change. Hey guys, now you are above my stove. So now, we can go ahead and cook face to face. Right now I'm just making sure the rice isn't clumping together. Spreading it out, letting it saute for a little bit. We're going to go ahead and add everything else in there as we need. I can have it on a higher heat if you wish. That's up to you. I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of my ingredients over here, since it's on a different table. This
And this should be our dandy over here. That's the seasoning packet. Then we're going to go ahead and listen to the seasoning packet and mix in the seasoning. I know it hasn't been a minute, but I guess we'll wait. I'll just mix up the rice and fry it for a little bit. And we are going to be adding 2 eggs into our fried rice. Just making sure there's enough room for them. Yeah, there should be. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and add our soy sauce. The only thing I don't ever listen to the packet of rice for is how much it says. Because it says a certain amount of soy sauce, but I just eyeball it. You're going to put enough seasoning to at least cover your rice, but not completely covered. There should still be rice sticking out that has not been covered. But I'm not saying that you should go skimpy if you don't want to, but the way mine looks, it looks like this. Bit of dry seasoning on there. We're going to be adding the soy sauce onto it, and then we will be stirring it, and then adding in our eggs. Now, of course, however much soy sauce you want, go ahead and add it. I like to give mine a nice darker color. Make sure you get it all nice and mixed up too. You don't want any of this dryness in there. If you get that in there, it's going to be really dry bite that you're taking out of. And if it still looks a little dry, or there's still like some white pieces of rice, you should probably put a little soy sauce on that if you want. Of course, it doesn't matter. It's just you're going to get a little bit of stuff in there. In fact, we did not remember to chop the green onion, so we're going to do that really quickly. Actually, I think we might just get rid of the green onion. I don't really feel like putting them in there. We need to add a little more soy sauce around the edges. It's looking really good, you guys. Like, I'm gonna bring you guys down here to take a little look at it. Looking real nice, I'd have to say. So we're going to go ahead and get our eggs out to go ahead and do this. Now, fried rice cooks relatively fast, but mine might be a little bit worse than what yours will turn out like. But got ourselves some large jumbo eggs. And we're going to go ahead and crack 2 of them. You can add more if you like more egg in your fried rice. And you can add less if you don't want egg in your fried rice, or if you're trying to be vegetarian. You don't need eggs in your fried rice. Now, I'm saying fried rice. It's no longer egg fried rice if you don't put eggs in it. So, now we're just going to drop it in there and then scramble it after it cooks just a little bit. I don't want it to be fully cooked sunny side up and or over easy, but just a little bit to get a little bit of whiteness, a little bit of white. What the heck? It's not moving around like it should. Go ahead and mix it up, scramble it up in the pan on the side of it. Just get that good egg look. And you can just leave the egg side of the fried rice on there for a little bit and let it cook. I'm going to go ahead and put my eggs away. Okay, so we're still letting this stuff cook because it's taking a second. But this is pretty much what it should look like for you guys. This is what it should look like.
little eggs on the side, and it's cooking right now. So it's taking a while for this stuff to cook on the side. Maybe I have it down a little too low. Okay, it's starting to solidify over here. Just want to get that a nice good texture on the outside of it. Should be fine. A little hard. As long as when you put your spatula through it, the bottom of it shows, it should be good enough to start mixing with your eggs. Not your eggs, your rice. Should be a good time to start mixing your eggs and rice together. Now, if you want more eggs, you can put more eggs in there. It's completely up to you. Because our only protein is not eggs, so we're good on protein in our food right now. Okay, now it says that we can add in our vegetables and meat. I'm going to add in my carrots. Pretty much anywhere will do. And we will add in our meat with some of the stuff that was on there. A little bit of onions in it, never hurt anybody. And now we're going to go ahead and mix it and fry it for a little bit. I'm also opting out of adding the garlic in there because I didn't think it was going to cook too well. The actual garlic, but I guess we can put it in here if we really wanted to. Okay. This looks about done. And technically it is. This is my fried rice. I know I made a bit of a mess, but I'll clean it up later. But pretty much that's how you make your fried rice. Give or take a few other steps if you don't want to, but that's pretty much how you make my fried rice. So if you guys want me to cook anything specific, go ahead and leave down in the comments what you want me to cook and other stuff like that. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope this was very helpful to you guys. And we will be doing other videos like this in the future. So I'm going to go ahead and serve this up to my guests and my roommate. See you guys in another episode. I'm going to be editing this down so it's not 50 minutes long. I am sorry it took so long for me to cook, but I have not started with this cooking thing, and it's just me, and this is on my phone, so yeah. See you guys in the next episode. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you guys in the next episode. Okay? Thanks. Remember to like if you really like the video, subscribe, and hit that bell if you want to be notified of any new content I put out. Thank you, and goodbye.